Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the really complex world of the narcissist. But we're not just going to define the problem, we're going to lay out a clear, step-by-step path to help you reclaim your own personal freedom and power.
Okay, so let's get into it. Our journey today has 5 essential steps. First, we'll peel back the layers on the game they play. Then, we'll discover the one tool they just can't handle. And finally, we'll talk about finding the courage to put your own well-being first.
First up, we really need to get a handle on who we're dealing with. And it's so easy to just paint them as a simple villain, but the reality is, it's more complicated. Their power is actually built on this carefully constructed and, believe it or not, surprisingly fragile illusion. This idea of a fragile scaffolding is just perfect. People often mistake a narcissist's big talk for real strength, but it's the total opposite. Think of it like a personality that's actually super brittle, hiding this deep, deep insecurity that needs constant validation. Or, hey, a big emotional reaction from you just to keep from falling apart. And this is how they get that validation. Tactics like gaslighting, where they literally make you question your own memory of what happened, or constant blame shifting. These aren't just random acts of cruelty. They're tools specifically designed to create confusion. A narcissist thrives in that kind of fog because it makes you doubt yourself, your own reality. It keeps you off balance, which ultimately makes you easier to control.
So if they're the masters of illusion, how in the world do you break the spell? Well, it turns out there's a surprisingly simple, yet incredibly powerful tool that you've got at your disposal.
It all comes down to one thing, one concept that they are fundamentally unprepared to handle, because it just cuts right through all the noise and all the drama. Simple truth. That's it. Not angry truth, not a long, complicated debate, but calm, simple, unwavering truth. Look, they can argue with your emotions, they can twist your words until you don't even recognize them, but they have absolutely no defense against a simple statement of fact. And why is that? Because it shines a spotlight right on the cracks in that fragile, false identity they've built. And this is exactly why it's so powerful. When you speak a simple, undeniable truth, like, that's not what happened, or I won't be blamed for your choices, you're doing way more than just disagreeing. You are exposing the mask. And for a narcissist, that is absolutely intolerable. Okay, and this is a huge mindset shift, so listen up. This is not a debate club. Your goal is not to win an argument or to get them to see your side of things. It's simply to state what is real. You're doing it to protect your own clarity, your own sanity, and to step completely out of their drama. So how do we take this powerful concept of truth and turn it into a practical, everyday tool? Well, this is where we start drawing boundaries. And I'm not talking about suggestions, I'm talking about non-negotiable lines in the sand. And here it is. This is the core conflict in a nutshell. On the left, you see how healthy people view boundaries, as lines of respect. But look at the right side. A narcissist sees those same lines as obstacles to be smashed through, as a direct challenge to their control. They don't lack understanding of your boundary, they lack respect for it. So how do you do it effectively? The key is to be direct and firm. And notice point number 3, do not over-explain. Seriously, the more you try to justify or rationalize your boundary, the more ammunition you're just handing them to pick it apart, argue with it, and wear you down. Here's a perfect example of what that sounds like. I will not discuss this topic anymore. If you continue, I am leaving the room. See, it's a declaration, not an invitation for a discussion. And then comes the hardest, most important part. You have to be prepared to actually walk out of that room every single time. Consistency is what gives that boundary its power. This brings us to a really crucial internal shift. It's not about fighting back harder. It's about refusing to participate in their psychological games at all. You actually win by getting off the playing field entirely. Think of it like this. Narcissists feed on your emotional reactions. That's the fuel they run on. So when you react with anger or frustration, you're giving them exactly what they want. But when you learn to respond calmly, logically, you deny them that fuel. To them, you become uninteresting, even boring, and that's a huge win. Ultimately, this is all about where you decide to invest your energy.
Their power over you is almost entirely dependent on your participation. The second you stop trying to explain yourself or win their approval or change them, you take back control of your own energy. And always remember, the most powerful communication in these situations often comes from a neutral, even detached tone. When there's no emotional hook in your words, there's nothing for them to grab onto, nothing to twist or manipulate. It's just clean, direct, powerful language.
And finally, we've arrived at the end of this journey. For some, this is the necessary final step, and it requires a total reframing of the act of leaving, not as some kind of failure, but as the ultimate act of courage and self-preservation. This quote really just gets to the heart of it all. Your empathy, it's a superpower, right? But it can become a real liability when you extend it without any discernment to people who repeatedly take advantage of it. Protecting yourself isn't a lack of compassion, it's wisdom. And this right here might be the key takeaway for this entire explainer. You are not responsible for healing, for fixing, or for managing someone who refuses to change. Your freedom truly begins the moment you hand that responsibility back to them.
Let's be crystal clear about this. Walking away from a toxic dynamic is not an act of abandonment. It is a powerful refusal to continue enabling harm, both to yourself and, in a way, to them. It is a moral affirmation that you have a fundamental right to be treated with respect.
And that's the final question this journey leaves us with.
It's a really powerful thought about the value you place on your own well-being, on your own identity, and your own peace. It forces you to decide what and who is truly worth protecting.